It's strange. You can spend an entire day feeling perfectly fine, but the moment your head touches the pillow, your brain suddenly decides it's time for a meeting. Not about tomorrow, not about sleep, about every awkward thing you've done in the last 10 years. That conversation from 3 years ago, that text you shouldn't have sent, that thing you should have said instead. And suddenly, sleep becomes impossible. The strange part? This almost never happens during the day. So what changes? Why does your brain become a completely different person after midnight? Most people think they have too many thoughts, but that's not actually the problem. The real problem is that during the day, your brain is distracted. Your attention is busy jumping from one thing to another. Your brain is distracted. Your brain never gets a chance to finish processing what's really bothering you. Then night arrives. Everything becomes quiet. And suddenly, those unfinished thoughts finally get their turn. Your brain isn't creating new problems. It's reopening old tabs. And just like a computer, too many open tabs slow everything down. Your brain hates unfinished business. An unanswered question bothers the brain far more than an answered one. That's why uncertainty keeps people awake. A finished story can rest. An unfinished story keeps asking for attention. And your brain treats uncertainty like a problem that must be solved immediately, even when there is nothing you can actually do about it. And then something even stranger happens. The exact same problem feels much bigger at night. A small mistake suddenly feels like a disaster. A simple uncertainty starts feeling like a threat. A future possibility starts feeling like a guaranteed outcome. And that's because your brain is tired. When you're tired, your ability to think rationally becomes weaker. Logic gets quieter. Emotion gets louder. That's why a problem that looked manageable at noon feels impossible at 2 a.m. And the worst part? In that moment, it feels completely real. Feels impossible at 2 a.m. But here's the biggest misunderstanding about overthinking. Your brain is not trying to hurt you. In fact, it's trying to protect you. The problem is, it's using a strategy that worked thousands of years ago. The problem is, it's using a strategy that worked thousands of years ago. So the brain evolved to constantly scan for threats. And your brain still does exactly the same thing today. The only difference is the threats have changed. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between physical danger and emotional danger. That's why a future problem can feel like a present emergency. And that's where overthinking begins. One thought becomes two. Two become 10. 10 become 100. And before you know it, your brain is solving problems that don't even exist. But then people make another mistake. They try to force the thoughts away, which sounds logical, but usually makes things worse. Let's do a quick experiment. For the next 5 seconds, don't think about a pink elephant. Seriously, don't think about it. What happened? You thought about the elephant because your brain has to think about something before it can avoid it. The same thing happens with anxious thoughts. The harder you push them away, the more attention you give them, and attention is food for thoughts. What you resist often becomes stronger. That's why fighting your mind rarely works. The more you fight, the more exhausted you become. And that's when people start believing something is wrong with them. But maybe the problem isn't that you're thinking. Maybe the problem is the war you're having with your own thoughts. So if fighting your thoughts doesn't work, what does? The answer is surprisingly simple. Stop trying to win.